Good morning, everyone, and welcome to today's vision of Cast on the Fly. And we wanted to talk a little about, what did we want to talk about? We kind of want to talk a little bit about education and the importance of education and how these very wealthy entrepreneurs are not coming across in a very professional, I guess I shouldn't really say professional. It's just the work that you're trying to instill when it comes to education is not landing appropriately. Sit with that for a moment, folks. The way you're coming across with the way that you failed in school is not coming across in a way that's empowering to someone. It's basically creating laziness for the younger generation. So you're saying they're all saying, all of them, Joe Rogan, Elon Musk, all millionaires, all with the wealthiest podcasting and businesses such as Tesla, such as VaynerX, etc., all talking as if school was the worst experience of their life. Well, everything in life is what you make it, first of all. Second of all, you want to understand that we have educational teachers, the educational system that goes into play. We've got government that's associated to it. We've got the peers around them. We have our personal journeys on our path when it comes to education. It's important to learn history. It's important to learn math. It's important to learn literature. And you get what you get, and you try your best to make the best grade possible for where you're at with your abilities, with your brain. That means you do study, you do work hard, you learn how to be with people. There's a lot of aspects to school that are extremely important. Meaning a lot of these guys were bullied in school, which is why they didn't like school. If they weren't bullied in school, then they were distracted by girls. If they weren't those two things, then their teachers weren't good. Or the fact that they were missed in the concerns of what was happening at home and the teachers didn't do their job. Because when you're a kid, you're like growing and you're learning. And in my personal experience of school, I had really good teachers for the most part. I had one bad teacher in third grade who was just mentally ill, and we later found out that she had a brain tumor. But that's why she got a brain tumor, because she was a bad teacher back then. She actually enjoyed abusing the parents as well as the students. For example, I got a C minus. I'm a writer. I'm supposed to be a writer. However, in third grade, I was given a C minus because I wrote front and back a book report on a book. And she said a C minus because what I wrote was too long. And then her and my mom would get in signature battles. Mom did not like that teacher, and she scratched her signature on I don't even remember if it was a bad grade, because it didn't feel like a bad grade when I think back. And she goes to me, "Who wrote this?" And if you knew who I was in third grade, I was not the type of kid that you would go to and say, "Who wrote this?" I was very well behaved. I was very, very shy. I would hide behind my dad's legs when there were strangers around. You know, I literally only got a citation once because I said, "She said yes," and I yelled it down in the cafeteria, and a lady saw me, and she, instead of giving me a warning, she gave me a citation, and I cried my eyes out. The only time I remember really getting in trouble, like when I was very little, like these are little ages, is when I remember it was a castle picture, and I really loved to go get the milk for the class, because you got to walk outside and it was a sidewalk and the grass was green, and you picked up the milk, and it's like work. And so I scribbled all over the paper in coloring, because I didn't really like coloring. And then I went to get the milk, and then she called in because I wanted to be done first, because like whoever got done first got to go get the milk. So when these guys are talking about grades, they're talking uniquely to themselves. However, even though they were making C's, D's, and F's, they were still learning. And you might not be that type of person that has a hard time in school. And your benefit of using your brain to evolve neuron connections is going to assist you in the future when it comes to your career. So it's like you're wasting your time if you're showing up in school not learning. Not to mention you're dumbing down society. College has its place, and it's definitely a space that all these guys went to college. However, they act like they didn't like college. But I feel like their memories of college are misconstrued. You know, college is your next step after high school to be the middleman of where you develop your adult skills. Because you're still a child really until you're almost 40. And even at 40, there's still a lot to learn. So when you're like thinking about college, it's cool to take a class here and there to see kind of what you're interested in. It's how you get curious. And then really hone in on what your career is. And you're probably already working at some facility. Now it's okay not to go to college. But you better have some kind of educational background of work experience or desire to learn on your own. Those are the kind of things that you want to look at when it comes to education. So that means when someone tells you not to go to college and to waste your money, they're talking about going to get a doctorate degree in a job that you're not interested in. But see, that always gets left out because they're talking so fast and they think that you are listening to all their content. So all you hear are pieces of conversation saying, don't study, don't go to school because you're lazy. So college has its place, meaning technical degrees and even literature. So if you're a writer and you're trying to be a writer, how do you be a writer is you learn from other people's writing. Literature degree. Although when you're thinking of storylines for like a book you're writing, if you only are in a linear path, your book is boring as shit. I would like to say that maybe even Game of Thrones, that person had some sort of education of some sort. Although they work with the Dark Lord, because who would come up in their brain with such violence and vile with no happy ending? That really was what you want to ask yourself. And now I want to digress over into emotional intelligence. And there's book smart, and then there's emotional smart. Now, you all have a misconstrued idea about both of these things too. You think emotional smart is standing over there pretending. That's not emotional smartness. That's called suppression. Now, the crazy part about all of this is you have to be emotionally intelligent in strategy, meaning I wouldn't necessarily recommend each and every one of you. I'm unique to my platform. I would not recommend that you perform or create unrest in your work environment if you have the expectation to get ahead, unless you're willing to fight for that thing. We're in a very unique situation at this time because everyone's completely insane. Meaning we're in an insane world, and when you're dealing with insane people, you have to come up from a space of I'm not putting up with your garbage. Emotional intelligence comes in the form of knowing which emotion will create transformation in an environment to work for the people, even when they're in a phase of, I don't give a shit what you have to say. Well, guess what? You're 20 years old. I'm the adult. Just because you accidentally went viral, you manipulated the system, it doesn't mean shit. And you definitely don't know shit, especially since you have no education. So you ain't got no college, you accidentally went viral, you manipulated an audience, corporate America is catching on. And here we are, you still at the bottom. You will lose all your money because you have no intelligence. It literally will happen like that. One bad business decision with another rotten person just like you, and your money's gone, dude. That's called strategy. That's called failure. And all of you need a little taste of failure. However, it's funny to me because you are all actually failing miserably. You just are posturing that you're succeeding. It's like watching a bunch of clowns running around pretending to be emotionally sane when you're absolutely insane. It's like seeing through a cloud of fart smoke while you wear fancy booby shirts and bikini tops to business meetings. Your first sign. This is the mindset of a woman who wears a bikini top to a big event. Well, I'll wear this top because my breasts will show and everyone will think I'm sexy and I'll get attention. A business person says, let me wear this outfit. I feel comfortable in it. I look good. I feel good because I'm here to actually have real conversations with people because I'm in a business setting. I don't give a shit about who's sleeping with who. That's on her and him. And guess what? When they over there flirting and doing their weird ass shit, you're over here mingling with the people that actually matter in business. But it's more like solid foundation. It's like you're really out to be of service for a lot of people, which means you're playing the long game. So ethics, morals, and values, whether you like it or not, matters in business. And you might show up on top in the very beginning with your 400,000 bikini top followers, which more than half of which are bots that you paid for, but you won't grow. You won't grow personally, you won't grow financially, you won't grow in any sense of the way. And eventually people sniff out the shit and then you get exposed and then you're way at the bottom where you were in the beginning. It was just a posturing situation of you pretending that you were at the top. And that's for each and every one of these hoes. So while people like Marie Forleo, who can create a hook, they create a hook and then they educate you on absolutely nothing. It's all bullshit jargon of like, you're great, you deserve this. You're great, you deserve this. You're great, you deserve this. Which means it's pie in the sky and it's located over there versus instilling it in you with education, and you have to do rough, gruff work. It's called rough, gruff work of you actually being in the dirt, of like taking that till hoe, which is what they used to use in the old days, in case you were wondering, you lazy asses. And they used to till the soil. Till the soil. We're tilling the soil with my platform. Tilling the soil, and then you've got the seeds. You plant the seeds, you water the seeds, you grow the plant. You eat the food. Same shit on the internet. And that tilling shit is hard work. And that's why they have to use sex. That's why they use sex to sell you on their platforms. That's all they have to offer. Give me a fucking break. Clean eating. We're hosting a weekend of a day, a 3-hour, what you call a day. No, a day is getting up at 8 o'clock in the morning, starting a yoga practice at 9 that lasts until 10:30. Then you sit and practice till noon. You go to lunch for an hour and a half. You come back. You do another yoga practice. You do more yoga shit. And then you do an inquiry after dinner. And you're working until 10 o'clock at night. That is a day. 2 hours ain't no day. 3 hours ain't no day. That's called the lazy man's work. See, those are the kind of sessions, of seminars that I go to, the ones where you're at a session from 10 in the morning until 11 o'clock at night with a dinner break and a lunch break. And you are working constantly, conversating all day long with valuable information, not how you went vegan. How is that helping someone about how you went vegan? No emotional intelligence, no ability to work with people. So this person who's standing on a stage has an article written about her, this CleanCon person who says she can't stand people. So she decided she wanted to move to LA to be an actress. So whatever you put out in print form is who you are. Because she says it multiple times in her interviews. But people here are the same people here, are the same people here, are the same people here. What does that tell you? Is that this person is literally a cloud chaser, a money chaser, and look at how cool I am in my bikini top, which means she's not actually an entrepreneur. She's posturing. She's a fraud. Now, do you want to be that kind of person, or do you want to be the type of person that sits in a seminar from 10 o'clock in the morning to 11 o'clock at night who has an intention to really help people? Because that's actually the real payout. That's the payoff. That's the real payoff, is to watch someone else succeed. That's how you know you've won. Especially if it's a generation of the Gen V. See, are y'all over there all comparing yourselves to each other, trying to compete with these 20s and 30-year-olds? This is like the craziest shit ever. The most ignorant generations are millennials and Gen Zs. No common sense, no education. Maybe you strategize this to tell them not to go to college because they didn't go to college. And if they did go to college, they lied about going to college, because you don't get your doctorate in a year. If you're a doctor, there is a certain work ethic you have where you don't become a pharmacy assistant. You actually try to be a doctor. So there's a lot of shit here that you want to know how the internet structure works. Is you're a bunch of liars. And that's why we're completely out of integrity, is because you all lie all the fucking time. Liars. That's not emotional intelligence. That's called forming a dictatorship and confusing your audience for you to get a paycheck. So you can look cool and go to a fancy Heidi Klum Halloween party in your fancy outfit you call Fearless Fairy, when we all know there's an orgy going on in the other room. Y'all nasty. Hollywood, y'all nasty. You ain't got no emotional intelligence. That energy that you call seduction is abuse. That energy that Monavan puts out in seduction is abuse. She's abusing her audience. That's violating someone's personal civil rights. And you want to understand, an abuser like her, which is a narcissistic personality disorder, doesn't see it as abuse. So you keep posting your posts. You keep going out to dinner. You keep uncovering your shit. You keep talking shit, because it is going to come out that you are narcissistic, you are demonic, and so is the rest of your clan. See, models are supposed to stand there and keep their mouths shut. You chose that path for yourselves. You did no fucking work, and then you out there trying to talk about manifestation and shit. You still ain't breathing right. You still ain't meditating right, and your yoga practice is shit. You ain't got no education around emotional intelligence. You just playing a part in a role in a movie, when we in real life, we got real problems out here. See, they don't even want to fix the real problems. They want to stay on top, and they'll do whatever it takes to stay there. Now, you want to hear me on that. They ain't fixing problems. They creating problems. I'm hoping that what I just said landed on you, to really embody what I'm trying to educate you on, and how these people who are content creators are creating more problems in a world of problems, and they do not care about an audience who have problems. You sitting there on your couch in your fancy house, and honestly, it has nothing to do with the fact that they live in a fancy house. It has everything to do with the fact they have no education on transformative work. They're fluffing your ass for attention. So even as they're trying to tell you that you're worthy and all this bullshit, they're literally looking to be glorified. That's called abuse. So she said I was worthy, so I must be worthy. That's not emotional intelligence. That's not even a human behavior. That's somebody who's trying to be better than someone. And her name is Reese Witherspoon. She was born with a silver spoon up her ass. Have you ever seen her mother? A child actress turned demon adult. You can do whatever you want. Go ahead and take a look at the movie with Brad Pitt and Leonardo DiCaprio and Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, with the little twat who is trying to act like an equal to the adults, and the adults don't say anything. That's where you go wrong. That child has already lost her entire existence. She isn't even a person anymore. She's a fucking actress. And that's who your future co-star is going to be. She's a cute little, she ain't even cute, but she pretending like she's cute, like she's a friend. Instead of educating her on how to be humble and how to be human. While her mother is a prostitute. So that kid ain't got no shot. She might have movie roles, but her life is fucking over. So y'all want to sit back and not say nothing around other people's parenting when you know that shit ain't right. That's called raising a child, and it takes a community. Too bad. When you're on set here, Quentin, you're the father. Mother ain't allowed here. When Quentin's around. Y'all need to learn how to operate, because now you're going to abuse a child. Because that's the message that I just received, Quentin. Because you'd rather have a Hollywood career than take care of a child and make sure they don't have a nightmare after the shit that you put out. Emotional intelligence much? Question mark. While you dating some prostitute whore that you prancing around? You all dating one. And they like to talk like this. Rub and make chills on the backs of your necks in public. While they then go over to Leonardo DiCaprio, like the Amazon dude's fiance, and try to get his dick hard to get him into the spaceship. Now that's some nasty shit, ain't it? That ain't no real relationship neither. That means none of y'all got no emotional intelligence while you're trying to be emotional intelligence in movies. Y'all ain't real people. You just spend all your time on yachts with 20-something little shitheads who literally act like children. That's gross. I can't even imagine how you can sit across from a model and have a conversation with that. Oh, baby, oh, babe, babe, oh, I know what you mean. Parrot talk, parrot talk, parrot talk, parrot talk, parrot talk, parrot talk, parrot talk. Jesus fucking Christ. But look how pretty I am with my vagina in your face, with my boobies hanging out in a bra top. Funny how Mona Van never one time looked at any of Gary's content to see how he actually feels about an attractive woman. You should really think, audience, on really what's going on here. He says he wants to shoot himself every time she's around, while she pretends to be so in love. I imagine you're probably gagging when you have to hear that shit. That's how nasty they are. I'm talking about the models. Oh, look at me, look at me, look at me, look at me, look at me. But honey, look at me. Oh, I can definitely fake it. I can fake intelligence. I can fake intelligence and I can fake kindness too. That's why I stole Adam Levine from that other blonde girl. You know me, I'm exotic because I was born in another country. That other girl's just American. But just as evil. It's just different. The problem is when you decided that you wanted to make models the new education for women, or actresses, or reality television stars as the new educators for us in content creation. While you all didn't say anything. That's not emotional intelligence. That's called abuse. That's called industry. That's called greed. And that's my discussion with you this morning. With a little bit of me and a little bit of you, we're changing the internet and the whole entire world, actually. Whether you like it or not, model biatch. My name is Cassandra Vaynerchuk, and I am Queen of the Universe, Queen of Earth, and Vice President of the United States of America, and working alongside of Donald Trump, as well as my husband, Gary Vaynerchuk, as well as my dear friends like Leonardo DiCaprio, Brad Pitt, who else? Ashton Kutcher. I know there's a bunch of other ones. Chris Pratt, Dwayne The Rock Johnson, and a bunch of other people. Proving that you all are psychotic. And they actually are leaders in the space. They just used to didn't know it, and now they do. And now we're just exposing you all. So keep inviting them to places, guys. It's like amazing to watch how ignorant you all are. We had another event last night, and we saw Dwayne in Colorado. And just to let you know that you all at Boulder College in Colorado are psychotic. And guess what? I've been to that school before. A couple times.